Hello guys, hope you're doing good. So in today's video, we're going to look at the Leatherneck SF from Cold Steel. So when you buy the knife, it comes in this very nice cardboard box. Let's open it. Here's a knife with the sheath. Alright, so we'll start by looking at the sheath. It's made out of Securex, which is fiberglass reinforced nylon. So it has multiple eyelets, so you can adjust your belt loop. Also has these cutouts here. You can lash paracord in there if you want to add a pouch or you want to lash it to your backpack. It's a very well constructed, pretty rigid. The sheath comes with this nylon belt loop that is fastened via Velcro and the snap, so you can easily take it on or off your belt. So the knife is also fastened to the sheath with this keeper here. So the retention of the sheath is very good. It's not going to fall out, even if you shake it hard. So as you can see here, the knife rides pretty comfortably on the belt. Very easy to deploy. Just unfasten the snap. So overall, this is a great sheath for that knife, very functional. So some people don't like the fiberglass reinforced nylon. They say it dulls the edge of the knife. I found that if you unsheath your knife by drag it down the spine, that really doesn't happen that much. All right, so let's take a look at that knife. So let's look at the dimensions of this knife. So overall, it measures 11 3/4 inches or 298 millimeters with a blade measured 6 3/4 inches or 171 millimeters. The stock thickness here is 5 millimeters or roughly 3/16 of an inch. So the weight of the knife comes in at 11.7 ounces or 332 grams. So the steel used for this knife is German D2 steel, as they mentioned here, made in Taiwan, but they don't specify the HRC hardness for this knife. So as you can see, this design is really reminiscent of the Kabar fighting knife. This is definitely a fighting knife design. So it has a very long clip point, very sharp tip. So another feature reminiscent of the fighting knife, the Kabar fighting knife, is this guard that's welded on. Looks pretty solid. So one advantage is that your hand is not going to slip off while you use this. So the knife has a saber grind, but instead of having a flat grind here, they have a hollow grind, but it does come to a relatively thick edge, so I think it should be pretty tough. So this knife has a full tang design. You can actually see the tang protruding at the end, and the width of the tang is pretty beefy as well. So at the end of the knife, you have this pommel here that's pinned on the tang of the knife. Can be used to strike, or also can be used if you need to hammer in some tent spec, for example. So the handle of the knife is around 5 inches long. It's made out of this Griv X rubbery material. It's textured here and it's quite comfortable. There's some cutouts here for your thumb, so that's a nice feature. And there's these cutouts here, again, reminiscent of the Kabar fighting knife. I find that it's quite comfortable in multiple grips. No problem there. All right, so let's start by seeing how sharp it is outside the box. No problem. All right, so we'll make a few cuts here with some different materials. Here we got some bank line. Slice it through easy. Got a piece of 550 paracord. Let's see how it does with that. Slices like butter, no problem. So obviously this is not a bushcraft knife, but let's see how it does at preparing feather sticks. The hollow grind is not really ideal for that, but it works out. You can make some pretty good feathers. All right, so let's see how it does at preparing notches. So it does bite in the wood pretty easily, Pretty effortless. No problem. All right, so let's try some light chopping. Try to prepare a point here on this stick. And so it's a fighting knife. It's not necessarily front heavy, so it's not the best chopper, but it does work. All right, so let's try some more woodworking. Not bad. It's pretty good, very easy to control as well. All right, so to test the durability of this edge, we'll try some cross-grain batoning. No problem. All right, so let's use a knife to try to put a stake in the ground. All right, so it is a full tang knife. Should be able to baton. Let's try it out. No problem. All right, so let's test out the tip of that knife. It's a fighting knife, so it should be able to pierce pretty good. Let's see how it does. Let's test the toughness of that tip here on this frozen piece of wood. As you can see, it goes through no problem with no deformation to the tip. Let's try some light chopping on these branches here. No damage to the edge. All right, so let's see how it does on a slightly thicker branch. Not bad. All right, so let's do some chopping with it. So obviously it's not the heaviest knife, but it does chop pretty good for its weight. Pretty good. All right, so let's try some baton chopping. So I'm pretty impressed with this German D2 steel. So despite it being a hollow ground knife, it's still pretty tough. Probably because it has a pretty good thickness behind the edge, giving it significant overall toughness. As you can see, there's absolutely no edge damage. So overall, I'm pretty impressed with the Leatherneck SF from Cold Steel. So initially I was a bit concerned that the hollow grind will make for a very delicate edge, but it could handle batoning, chopping, even a baton chopping without any problem to the edge. The tip is a bit fine here, but again, I was able to torque it through pieces of wood with no deformation or damage. So that's a very nice feature. The guard is still holding up fine. It's not wiggly or anything. The handle is still very solid, and the pommel didn't move as well. So pretty good construction. So the powder coat finish still holding up pretty good. There is a bit of wear on it, but that's to be expected. So one of the reasons I was interested in this knife is I always wanted one of those Kabar fighting knives. The only problem is that they're not very robust. So I've seen many videos like the DBK videos and other reviews where the tang, the rat tail tang, would snap or deform very significantly through use. But this knife is much more robust. It still keeps the aesthetic of the original Kabar fighting knife, but at the same time, it's much more robust, can be used as a survival knife or an outdoors knife. So Kabar has made their full tang Kabar knife, but it's quite expensive. The Leatherneck SF is quite affordable, very robust. So definitely, I think this is a great option for a modern fighting knife. So obviously, this clip here and this guard make it better suited for a fighting knife. For example, it's much more difficult to put your thumb in front here because you have the guard. So it does limit the usefulness as a bushcraft knife. But overall, this is a great knife for the outdoors and a great survival type knife. So if you're interested to pick one up for yourself, I added the link in the description section of the video. Thanks for watching.